Should you buy the 2026 Honda CR-V? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and ownership. The CR-V has been one of the top SUVs on the market for a few years now, and for this video, I'm going to share 5 major highlights that make this one of the best SUVs that you can buy for the money. And I'll also share another 5 drawbacks where it could use some improvements. But first, let's begin with the updates and changes that Honda has made for 2026. The updates begin with the interior, where you now get a wireless smartphone charging pad and an updated 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability that comes standard on every model. Most trims now also come with a fully digital driver display behind the steering wheel, which is customizable depending on what information you want to see. Honda has also made some cosmetic styling updates to both the interior and the exterior design, and they've also expanded the CR-V lineup, adding more different trim levels than ever before. The lowest trim still comes standard with a regular gas engine, a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. The hybrid drivetrain, however, is now offered in 4 different trims. The base trim, which is the Sport Hybrid, is new to Canada for 2026. And just above that, we have the Trailsport Hybrid, which is new across the board. The Trailsport is designed to give the CR-V more of an adventurous off-road vibe. It's a pretty modest change. You basically just get a few light styling updates to give it a more off-road look, along with all-terrain tires. Now, I really do like the ash green paint color that's available only on the Trailsport, but I'm not really sure how many CR-V buyers are really looking for more of an off-road SUV, especially given that the all-terrain tires do make the ride a little bit noisier and they do reduce the fuel economy. But if you are looking for a CR-V with more of an adventurous off-road vibe, well, now you can get one. In any case, let's move on to the 5 major highlights of the CR-V that make it a real winner and one of the best SUVs in its segment. Starting with the first highlight, which is its amazing hybrid system. Honda's hybrid system is so incredibly good that I really would not even bother considering the base 1.5 turbo 4-cylinder engine, because the hybrid is just so much better in every meaningful way. For one thing, it produces more power, 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque, which is more than enough for an SUV like this. Now, it's not a quick, super powerful SUV, but for what it is, it has more than adequate performance. And the other benefit is the incredible fuel economy. The CR-V Hybrid is rated to achieve between 35 to 40 miles per gallon, or between 6 to 7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is phenomenal fuel efficiency for an SUV of this size. So you get more than adequate power, excellent fuel economy, and then we have the third benefit, which is the incredible smoothness and refinement. Honda's hybrid system is easily one of the smoothest, most refined that you can get on the market. The engine is so seamless that you really don't even notice it as it's turning on and off as you drive. And when the engine does come on, it is very smooth and very quiet. You can really tell that Honda really knows what it's doing when it comes to designing hybrids, which it does, because it's been making them for well over 2 decades. The hybrid system that's in the CR-V has now been in production since 2014. It was first introduced on the Honda Accord Hybrid and is now in its 3rd generation. Which brings us to highlight number 2 that makes the CR-V one of the best SUVs in its segment, which is its proven reliability. Because Honda has been producing this hybrid system for so long, it is incredibly well proven and well sorted. And it is definitely designed for longevity. It uses a very simple, naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with no turbocharging that comes connected to 2 electric motors with no real transmission. It is a remarkably simple, straightforward hybrid design that is designed to last. And in the time that it's been around, it really has no significant flaws or repair concerns. So if you are looking for an SUV that you can keep for a long time, for well over 10 to 15 years without having any major issues, this is definitely an SUV to go for. And then that brings us to highlight number 3 of the CR-V, which is its amazing ride and handling combination. The CR-V is one of the smoothest and quietest driving SUVs in its segment. It has a remarkably comfortable ride with really nice, smooth, soft suspension, but at the same time, it also has surprisingly good handling. It can take corners remarkably well, and that's the kind of balance that you normally don't see in most other SUVs. And then we have highlight number 4 of the CR-V, which is its incredible interior space and straightforward control setup. The CR-V has one of the most spacious interiors in its segment. The cargo area is incredibly roomy, tons of space. Of course, you have back seats that you can fold flat, giving you even more space for all your stuff. You have very spacious, roomy back seats where a pair of adults will have no problem sitting comfortably, even for longer trips. As a whole, it's a very usable size and a very practical, spacious SUV that will have no problem handling family car duty. And on top of that, you have a very straightforward control setup with easy to use controls, which a lot of buyers will really appreciate. The touchscreen infotainment system has a very straightforward user interface with, again, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is great to see. And I really like how the CR-V comes with conventional controls for adjusting your temperature and climate. You also get a nice mechanical gear selector, and there's plenty of storage space throughout. So as a whole, this is a very well designed interior, and it feels very high quality. You have excellent materials, excellent fit and finish, and it just feels very well put together. And that brings us to highlight number 5 that makes this one of the best SUVs in the segment, which is the value for money that it offers. As mentioned, the CR-V has an excellent reputation when it comes to reliability. These are known for being very long-lasting SUVs with minimal maintenance and repair concerns. And that reliability helps give the CR-V excellent resale value. This is a vehicle that holds its value very well over time. And that's a very good thing considering the pricing. Now, the pricing for the CR-V is actually not too bad in the United States. It starts around $32,000 US, and the hybrid ranges between $37,000 to $44,000 US, which is pretty competitive with most rivals. But the pricing in Canada, unfortunately, is quite a bit higher. It starts around 39,000 Canadian, or if you want to go for the hybrid, the pricing starts at 48,000 and can go as high as 54,000 Canadian, which makes it roughly around $3,000 to $4,000 more than most rivals. On the other hand, however, the CR-V Hybrid does have better availability when compared to other hybrid SUVs, especially Toyota hybrids, which tend to have very long waiting periods, next to no incentives, and are very difficult to negotiate a good price on. Which is not the case with the CR-V Hybrid, which has excellent availability, tends to offer more incentives, and there's more negotiating room. So it's a much easier SUV to get a good deal on. So there's definitely a lot to like here, but unfortunately the CR-V does still have a few drawbacks that you need to be aware of. Starting with the first downside, which is that the CR-V Hybrid does not come with a spare tire. Yes, it is unfortunate because some rivals like the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid and Mazda CX-50 Hybrid do come with a spare. So if you are looking for that, then the CR-V Hybrid is unfortunately not going to work. And then we have downside number 2 of the CR-V, which is that it is missing a few desirable features. Oddly, you still cannot get any version of the CR-V with a 360 surround view camera. You also cannot get ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, and even though it does come with a regular sunroof, you cannot get a large panoramic sunroof, all of which are very desirable features that a lot of consumers want. And then we have downside number 3, which is that you cannot get the hybrid drivetrain on the base LX model. As mentioned earlier, I really don't think that the regular gas engine, the 1.5 turbo, is even worth bothering with, especially considering how expensive it is and how close in price it is to the hybrid drivetrain. So given the choice, the hybrid is the much better one to go for. And I really think we've reached the point where Honda should just scrap the regular engine altogether and just make the hybrid standard across the board, which would make it a lot more affordable for those that want a more basic version with the hybrid drivetrain. Which brings me to downside number 4, which is the high pricing. Even though it is a very well designed SUV and a very good value, there is no question that the pricing is a little bit on the high side, especially for those in Canada, where it is a few $1,000s more than most of its rivals. Now, as mentioned, because of its pretty good availability, there are incentives, deals, and more negotiating room that can help out with that pricing. But even so, it would be nice to see Honda bring down that pricing just a little bit. And finally, that brings us to downside number 5 of the CR-V, which is auto theft. Now, I want to be clear, this is not a problem everywhere. It really depends on your location. But there's no question that in many regions, the CR-V is considered a high theft vehicle, which can make the insurance premiums a little bit on the high side depending on your region and situation. So that's something that you're definitely going to want to look out for and check if you're considering buying one of these vehicles. Now, I need to be clear, none of these downsides are real deal breakers because all things considered, this is still easily one of the best SUVs that you can buy in the segment, and definitely one of my top recommendations to go for. Now, what's going to make things interesting is that there are more hybrid SUVs that are entering the market. For example, Subaru has just introduced its new Forester Hybrid, and in 2026, we should get an all-new version of the Mazda CX-50, which is also going to be offered as a hybrid. And of course, there's the all-new redesigned 2026 RAV4 Hybrid, which should be another major competitor. So there are definitely a lot of interesting options out there if you are thinking of buying a hybrid SUV, and I'm definitely going to have to get them together for a few comparison videos in the near future to find out which one is the best choice. But in the meantime, let me know what you thought of this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you are planning to purchase a vehicle and you live in Ontario, know that OMVIC is the vehicle sales regulator that administers and enforces the rules that dealerships must follow. To learn more about your consumer protection rights, visit omvic.ca. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, including a new CR-V, make sure to sign up to carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.